Missed last month. Tanya and I were riding the COVID wave. That was fun. So, okay, let's do board introductions. I'm Adam, your president. I'm going to pass it to Brian.
Brian Balak, I'm your treasurer.
Marcus Scott, secretary.
Kathy Nix, VP.
I'm Lisa Brewer, member at large.
And I'm John.
Not a large member, member at large.
And I'm John. I'm member at large. John Slocum.
Really want to thank David Hargraves and DRH Investment Advisory. So him and Linda have sponsored the club every year, and then this year they stepped up to be our gold member sponsors. I'd like to thank Dave Bennett with DRB Home Services. I can tell you, I personally used him. He's awesome, especially right now. We're flipping a house. We actually closed on our first one Tuesday. Dave has been great. Showed up exactly when he said he would. Gave us a very reasonable price. If you need anything done painting, Dave's awesome. John is it's mad when I don't say it right. JS Coaching Systems. So John is our resident coach here for the Sarasota Storm. He runs all of the triathlon clinics as well as the workouts. He does a really good job, except for he keeps hurting himself. And then I love these sponsors because I've used them all. Lagasse Pools is a sponsor. I forced him to do it, but I forced him to do it because he's really amazing at doing what he does. He's been doing it a long time. We saw like 5 signs in our yard, or in our, not our yard, but in our neighborhood for Lagasse. And so we thought, okay, we'll reach out to him. We reached out to 3 other pool companies to do our stuff, and none of them really got back to us. Steve has been on it, not just with his whole team, but he's personally showed up to oversee making sure everything's done right. So seriously, Steve, thank you. Longevity Wellness you should sponsor Longevity Wellness, John, because first thing that John said when he got hurt was, I'm going to go see Cynthia. So Longevity Wellness, thank you. You are our longest standing sponsor, if I remember correct, right? So thank you very, very much. And if they're coached by John, they're going to know you really well. Except for if they're coached by Superfly Coaching, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, so New Image Dentistry, just worked on my wife. We were supposed to work on me. I actually rescheduled and didn't have a rescheduling fee, which is huge. So I think there was a Seinfeld about that. So Tanya's very happy with her teeth, and she's British, which is hard to do. Sarasota Home Advisors.
She's also not here.
Yeah, she's on her way. I had to get that in first. Yeah. Yeah.
You are being recorded.
Sarasota Home Advisors, my lovely, beautiful bride. She's amazing at doing what she does. She helps people find their dream homes as well as relocate here, or if you're looking to sell, this is an opportunity. If people are looking to step up, this is great. Sunshine Pool Company Sunshine Pool Cleaning Company. Actually, Steve, you met Toby, and he's an amazing person. He charges the exact same price as a lot of other pool companies. But Toby just so you all know, he had 27 trucks, I think, out in San Francisco, and he moved here, and now he's doing it again all himself. He takes a lot of pride in the work that he does. He shows up on time. He's very professional, and he was also a fire chief out in San Francisco as well, too. So he's just an all-around really good guy, and if your house burns down while he's there, he can solve that problem, too. And then Superfly Coaching, that's me, so you guys know who I am. So moving on from that, here comes my wife. Nobody say anything about the teeth. And hey, Tanya. Hey, we were just talking about you and how good you are at selling houses. Okay. Yeah.
She's wondering now. She's like, oh, God. Hey, it's all on video, Tanya.
Yeah. Do we have any new members in the crowd?
But we will. So when this guy walks in like 5 or 10 minutes, go, hey Ted.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. Who would like to introduce her?
So I would like to introduce Laura. Laura is not new to triathlon, not new to swimming. She has been a kind of a part-time resident down here for a while, and she has recently moved down here permanently. So Laura Elliott is quite an accomplished triathlete. You can talk a little bit about your recent exploits.
Oh, no.
Come on.
So,
Yeah.
I really just say no.
Look at the camera, too.
So Laura Elliott, I moved here from Iowa. I know a few of you.
I moved here to have fun when I'm not working. However, I moved here in the middle of a pandemic and I'm in healthcare. So that being said, there hasn't been a whole lot of fun yet. So last weekend, the exploits he's talking about is I did Mackinac Island swim this past weekend, which if any of you have a bucket list swim, it's the 14th of August next year. It's 8.2 miles around Mackinac Island, Michigan, and Lake Huron. So
Have people sign up for it.
it's awesome. The water is absolutely pristine. You can see 20 feet down. There's no seaweed. There's nothing. There's nothing but. It was mandatory wetsuit. So it was about 69 to 70 degrees, and depending on which side of the island you're on, dropped a little bit cooler than that. On the west side, which I like to refer to as the abyss, because the water was about, I don't even know, so deep and so dark and so cold.
Did you see the Edmund Fitzgerald?
I might have hallucinated it. So it was a very harrowing experience. It's a non-timed, non-chip event. It is 100% for charity.
Hey, Ted.
Hey!
No, you're good. So if you have any desire to do any marathon swimming, I would highly recommend it. I'll be back next year to.
So you did the whole 8 by yourself?
I did. Well,
holy shit.
yes, I did 7.47 is what my Garmin read because there was some buoy issues. But I did the whole start to finish. So it starts at the Grand Hotel, which is the big famous island hotel, and it finishes at Mission Point Resort, which is on the opposite side of the island, and you swim around.
Was there also teams?
You could do it as a relay. So there was multiple people that did 4-man teams. They split them up in sections of 2. There was a couple people that did, but it's completely unmanned. So I had no kayak support. You carried everything with you on your back that you needed. So there was kayak support there, but not for everybody. So they had about 20 kayakers in the water and 235 swimmers.
That's hardcore.
And for those of you that don't know Mackinac Island, when you're done, you have to bike ride yourself back to your hotel, right? 'Cause there's no-
Walk, or
yeah,
ride on a
there's no
horse-drawn
vehicles
buggy.
allowed.
There's no vehicles in Mackinac Island. So I got on a bike for the first time in a year and a half and rode on a jalopy around the island and did a lot of bike. So it's beautiful.
What'd you eat on your?
I didn't eat anything.
For 8 miles.
Yeah. No, I ate peanut butter and jelly before I went,
Okay.
and I ate a protein bar before I went. And I carried my electrolyte solutions in my buoy, but I was only in the water for 4.5 hours, so.
Oh, that's it? Now it's gonna jump out of their skin right now.
I paid the consequences when I got finished. So anyway, no, I had electrolytes with me and glucose tablets with me.
Are
which
you
is
gonna do
about-
Vito swim?
I'm signed up to do alligator, so I'm not sure what's happening there yet. So.
So what would you do different? You said you paid the consequences.
Oh, I just was really tired.
Did you chafe really bad? on your-
You can see when when I stand up, it looks like I have a really bad case of psoriasis, which I don't. So I'm allergic to latex, so note to self: next year ask for silicone. So
Wow, congratulations.
yeah. So if anybody has any questions about it, then I'd be happy to. I mean, we raised $16,000 for the local charity this year after expenses. So.
Steve swims about 8 miles when he surfs.
I've never done that.
Oh, okay.
We can fix that. We can fix that.
What?
I was
He's
teasing.
never gonna fall.
Well, that's because I don't. My bike is still in the box. When did I
We
ship
can
my
fix
bike?
that,
When did I
too.
ship my bike?
You're, sorry.
I shipped in my bike in March or April. Okay, what do you guys do?
Okay, are you Norm or Ted? Ted, you're new. I'm teasing about the Norm. So, because I just yelled at, because you don't know the Cheers reference?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Ted, do you want to come introduce yourself?
Yeah, do I have to use the mic?
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
They make me do stand up.
Yeah.
We'd like you
Yeah.
to because we record it. People around here can hear and see what's happening.
I can sit down over here.
No, I'll stay up here.
Just a quick thing on
You guys, he's never gonna come back after.
Would you swim? Would you swim?
I haven't swam in, I don't know, probably about a year
year and a half.
Perfect. Have you met my wife?
I think I beat it. I think I'm at 2 years.
All right, yes, we're trying to get back in the loop again. So I'm from Wisconsin. We just moved here about 10 days ago. We know absolutely nobody. So.
What part of Wisconsin?
Madison.
I used to live in North Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois, so yeah. And my friend lives in Middleton.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, so.
What about you, Adam?
It is, we just have blood, I guess.
So what else am I supposed to say? So we moved here 10 days ago. I got a little guy, he's 11 years old, and my wife, and then we have 2 college daughters back in Wisconsin going to college. And trying to figure out if we're going to stay down here or not. Kind of second home shopping. And then I've been out of the tri-loop for probably about a good solid 7 years or so. So I was in it about 5 years and did Ironman in Wisconsin, maybe I think it's 2012. And then kind of did some other racing until about 2015 or so. And then also playing some rock bands and stuff like that. So I got busy with the bands. Do a lot of other stuff. But so now over the 5 years, I kept falling out of shape. So I had like high cholesterol. So I'm like, the one thing I should probably get back into working out again. And so I've kind of found my way back to biking. You know, it's sunny out, so I'm like, oh, I should probably start swimming. So then we have to swim in the bike. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'll start jogging. So then I'm like, all right, maybe we're headed back down the tri-path. But you know, I was chasing a lot of time stuff before, and now I've just kind of settled into, because I think I got sort of burned out on that, like all these like rigid workouts and trying to get someplace. And now I'm sort of coming back in with this like fresh attitude of just working out for the sake of staying healthy, maybe do some racing again, and just kind of get back in the loop and kind of see where that goes.
Great.
Welcome.
There you go.
That's
There
right.
you
So
go.
is Ironman your first try?
No, I've done a bunch of, maybe 20 races before that, like Olympics halves, that sort of thing. So, yeah, that was my school. And then I picked it Ironman. Did a couple halves after that, and then I kind of got burned out on it. I was like, all right.
So why wouldn't you stay in sunny Florida?
Well, it's got a great appeal. So we were back here in April and May for a couple of months. And then, so now we moved back in August. We have a condo and we've rented to the end of December. We're kind of housing.
I met my wife, and she's a real estate agent.
So, we'll sell you a house and we'll get you set up for your Ironman Florida.
And do you know this? This is true. She was second overall at Ironman Wisconsin and won her age group by 30 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Who's that?
That the one with the teeth.
Oh, nice.
We have it on tape.
The clean teeth. We were talking about your.
My clean teeth, yes, Lisa, I clean teeth.
Yeah.
I need whiter teeth.
The Ironman Wisconsin's like as flat as a pancake.
That's right. You know they moved it to June now.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it. I got a bunch of buddies.
Yeah. So you live in Wisconsin. You have 2 kids going to college, and you're trying to figure out how to pay out-of-state college tuition now.
No, they're already taken care of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We got our little guy, so he's at Pineview.
Nice.
Trying to figure out how that's all gonna work.
Must have been a hoops, baby.
Where do you live then?
Yeah, actually.
I know.
Please stop with the question.
Welcome to the
Plenty of questions. You gotta wait your turn. Listen, oops. It's called married, divorce. One of our own kids into the new marriage, and then let's have one of our own.
We got a special club for that. Yeah, right?
Welcome to Detroit Living Transition. Sorry, you know.
Thank you.
Drop the mic and walk away. You're fine.
Nice to meet you. And welcome. Yeah.
We have a lot of fun with you. Yeah.
In all seriousness, the Mackinac Island sounds amazing. I went there when I was very little on a boat. No one threw me off. Ironman Wisconsin is an amazing event. You'll probably never do a better venue. I've done Kona, I've done Lake Placid, I've done Wisconsin. Wisconsin is an amazing event. So now that they've moved it to June, it would give everyone here a strategic advantage because it's hard to train for it.
So 2022 is June?
Yep.
I was just saying, 'cause it's like in 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then the next one's gonna be in June. Yep, yeah.
Is it really flat?
No,
Oh.
Yeah, I
no,
did Racine, and Racine was not flat.
no, I would reckon it to, yeah, Claremont.
Times 100.
Oh.
No, Claremont's hard. Have you done that?
No.
Yeah, Claremont.
I did Traverse City, Michigan. 70.3.
I've done Steelhead, but Claremont had, I think,
7,000 feet climb.
yeah, Claremont had like 7,000 feet of climbing.
Beautiful.
It's not like long, slow pulls either. It's like.
Either was, so, yeah, anyway, so I would say, yeah, if you have never done Ironman Madison, Wisconsin, and if you are looking for a new challenge, it's awesome. And it will no longer conflict with Florida.
Looking at that.
Okay, race reports, age group nationals, anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Heather.
Come on.
Heather,
Go,
come on, let's hear it.
Well, you might be happy to know I wasn't wearing a storm kit because I finished last in my age group.
No.
So.
You were
But-
there.
Yeah, I was there. No, it was really cool because there's like the banners at the lakefront, and you come into the city and you're like, oh my god, I'm actually a part of this huge thing that's happening. So it was a beautiful course. The lake swim, it was wetsuit legal. I was one of the few people probably who wasn't wearing a wetsuit. It's like upper 60s, low 70s. I swim in the Gulf in the winter. It's fine. It's chilly when you get in, and then you're okay. And
Always swim with a wetsuit. If it's illegal, always swim with a wetsuit.
and
Wait. I did a video on
I've got body fat. It floats. And then in the lake, of course, like it's very calm. And apart from that, it's even calmer because it was sort of like a protected area, almost like there was a jetty, because it was right by the science center, and it was a dock start. The 45 to 49 women's age group that I'm in was very full. So we were on the dock, like giving each other lap dances the whole time that we're like waiting to start. And they're like, okay, we're gonna let the other guys get a little more time. And we're sitting there like, hi, how's it going? But yeah, we did the swim, and then the bike course was completely closed off to traffic. It was like such a luxury, because like, of course, like the last thing that I did was a Siesta Key sprint where like it's very narrow, there's no shoulder, there's all sorts of garbage in the bike lane, and people are just zooming past you all the time. So to be able to have like 3 lanes of smooth like asphalt where it's just racers was like pinching yourself. It was amazing. Mostly flat. There's the home bridge. So like towards the end of the race, you come up on this large bridge, which the USAT was very clear. Do not try to ride on this bridge before the event because it's not going to be closed to traffic. But it was. They had lanes closed for the race, and up and over, and then you come down into T2, and you have to almost like do a serpentine thing because you're coming off the bridge right into transition, and you're going really, really fast. And they're like, you might want to slow down because you're gonna miss the turn if you don't. And then the run was just like on the lakefront park. It was just the whole course was really beautiful, really smooth, and it was a great thing. I get back, got my kids to school the first day of school, like the next morning, and then the USAT sent out the emails that were like, hey, see you again next year, because they're doing it in Milwaukee again next year, and they're like, we'll shave off 20% of the entry fees, and you won't have to qualify to do it this year. And I was like, I'm that sucker. You already have my credit card information. Take it. So yeah. So maybe next time I can be like the next to last or the third from last in my age group.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Congratulations.
I have to look it up. I think the whole race was like.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
So,
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Which is also in Lake Michigan, Lake Mackinac, and unlike red tide, you just have to watch out for finless browns.
Right.
Yeah. Ah, really?
I did not know that until I got there. I thought,
Wow.
I'm gonna do another race
Is there a
in Lake
sign
Michigan.
underwater that you realized? Did you feel like you were off course?
Well, there's like Michigan, Lake Michigan, and then there's the bridge, and that's where it switches to Lake Huron. And there's a section in the middle called the Straits. So I did not realize it was Lake Huron either until I got there. And I was looking at the map, I'm like, we're actually swimming in Lake Huron.
Is Huron warm in Michigan?
No.
When I swam in Michigan in July, it was high 50s.
Yeah.
No, it was actually, I've done a swim in Lake Superior and a swim in Lake Michigan and now swim in Lake Huron, and it was the lowest so far.
Right, so, yeah, Michigan.
But it was shallow, so it's very.
What do you have, 2 left? You have to figure out a way to, there's 2 more Great Lakes? 5 Great Lakes.
No, you want to
Superior.
swim in Lake
Right,
Erie,
right.
come on.
Well, I would have, I skipped like age group nationals because it was in Lake Erie.
That's when
There
it
it
was
goes up.
superior.
There was
It's
too much
called-
sewage warnings.
Oh, yeah, that's. Okay.
Can we put geographical education on our membership? I next to her as well too, yeah.
Fitzgerald in Lake Superior.
I said, did she see it? They don't really know where it is, or
I
the
did
people,
not see-
yeah.
I did not see the line, the dotted line.
Yeah, right. That's bullshit. Yeah. Okay, so from Finless Browns to Red Tide, we have a double age group winner, right? For the first time here for Siesta Key. Here we go, Jeff.
The postponed Siesta Key Triathlon was this past week. Red Tide was non-existent. It was really great. There was one little spot right as you made the last buoy that the water kind of darkened a little bit, but you got right out of it. Other than that, there was no issues with Red Tide except for the dumpster full of dead fish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right off of transition. You open the door to the car, I was ready to get back in and leave, and then I realized the farther you walked away from transition, the clearer the air got. When we were down on the beach, there was nothing. It was beautiful. The water was crystal clear, smooth. We did swim into a little bit of a drift. I literally looked at my time and said, I can't swim that slow if I try. I would have to swim upside down and backwards to go that slow. So there had to have been a pretty hefty drift, and I don't swim open water enough to know. So the swim was good. The bike, I personally had an amazingly good bike ride. I crushed it. Came off the bike in 4th overall. And then I threw my anchor out that I normally throw out for the run. I got to give people a chance, so I drag an anchor behind me. It's called my legs. But I had a decent run. There was an issue. I thought there was myself had an issue on the beach because we had to run through where standing water had been. It had green algae, and then the water was gone, but the green algae was there drying out. So there were fumes coming off that green algae. I watched my heart rate go up about 10 points running across the green algae. Then as soon as you got past it, it would come right back down again. So that was a little bit of an issue, but that was an issue for everybody. It wasn't like one person had the problem. I ended up getting passed by a guy with about 200 or 300 yards to go to the finish line, and they announced him as the winner. And then later on, figured out that he only did 2 out of 3 laps. So I took my second win from at Siesta Key. I've never taken 2 wins in a row. That's kind of cool. I may never do it again, so it's a brag point. Well, you did it, right, Bob? Yeah, you did duathlon, didn't you?
What?
You did do or did you swim?
I did everything.
You did everything.
How'd you do?
Considering my age,
You won it 3 times in a row?
everybody else is dead. So I had no competition.
So you're an age group winner. We're gonna go with the, hey, can only race who shows up.
I actually love the race course, the run course, because I ran my family. He does a lot of Siesta Key stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't do so well in the sand, but I did pretty well when we.
I actually liked the loop
Yeah.
better than the down the beach and back.
We got out on the sidewalk.
Because you get to go on the sidewalk for half the run.
My times were a little faster than he was. I really won a 5K.
Congratulations, 2 age group winners. I have no jokes. Okay. Okay, finance. Speaking of no jokes.
Yeah, make it funny, Brian.
Okay. So, with the month of August, the month of July, the club actually finished with $115.20 more than we started with at the beginning of the month. We had started with a beginning balance of $15,428.68. Finished with $15,543.88. As far as members, we had a total of 99 individual memberships and 55 family memberships, which was pretty much the exact same that we had in June. If you want to see a breakdown, I have it not that too many expenses. It was just mostly, we had the road cleanup, the happy hour, and the typical meeting refreshments here at Sun and Fun. So if you guys aren't coming out for the things like the happy hour and you're not coming out for the road cleanup, please come out and take advantage of those things. That we do provide you guys with some refreshments and some adult beverages and bowling and yeah. So that's it.
I'll miss the bowling.
Maybe we can be the 100 member. You're at 99.
Right there.
That's 10, right? That would be 10.
Right.
You could.
We did have another member, brand new member, who did the truck, he did the bike, run. I think he won.
He got second.
Oh, he got second.
So he can't be a member.
He came last week.
Still in?
Yeah.
She won first in her
Yeah,
age
she
group
is.
too.
She was wearing a storm kit too.
Yeah, she got first in her age group, I think.
Oh, yeah, Christie.
And can I just say, if you have the opportunity, I know there's some issues with Terry's races, but this one went pretty good.
This one went as
And
smooth as he's ever had.
He does take volunteers, and he could use more volunteers. There was nobody at the bike turnaround, but he basically said, if you keep going, you're gonna end up in a neighborhood. But I mean, it is fun to do that.
Right.
You wear your storm gear, you get out there, and then you can recruit new members to join.
We used to have a terrible volunteer, but we replaced her with a really good volunteer.
Yeah. Transition went so much
That was
better.
John and now it's Red, is that the point? I love it. Come on to you, Bob. Thank you,
Yeah,
Red.
and just so you know, that there were maggots all over transition, and I was
Oh,
like,
God,
why
yeah.
do these people have their stuff on the ground?
I picked up my towel and it all fell off. I'm like, oh, crap.
And that's where I spent 3 hours by that dumpster with the fish. I had to go get a mask, I was so nauseated.
Very bossy.
And my son walks over and he goes, what are all these white things? And I went,
Who had a wedding?
oh my God, those are
All right. Couple board updates on the fly from me, pretty much, unless you guys have any after I go. I have received the package from Trek. We're gonna decide how to kind of allocate them. We have 2 helmets, we have 2 pairs of really kick-ass sunglasses, we have 2 floor pumps, we have some LED lights, we have the pumps that go on your bike, we have all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna figure out some cool ways to give that out.
Well, maybe
Yes.
at next meeting, be here.
Yeah.
There'll be somebody.
The boss, Kathy said she's the VP, but she's really the boss. She lets me say my ideas and she goes, okay, here's what we're gonna do. All right, Saturday, October 30th, we need to decide on a course, but I wanna do a ride and tie. So you need a partner. What's gonna happen is, back home, we used to do this every Halloween. We used to give time bonuses for costumes, but
October 30th?
yeah,
Do you need to be here?
where am I?
DC.
Oh, shit.
We will do it though.
Edit.
You wanna change weekends?
I mean, we have other events.
GFT is the 23rd,
Let's,
Storm Century is the 9th.
if you still want to do it, let's table it.
All right.
Yeah, we'll table it.
Let me explain the theory here, and then we'll figure out the time, because I would like to participate.
Okay.
Might be weird, really weird if you're in costume, if it's not on Halloween weekend. But the basic premise is you have a partner, you have 2 people and 1 bike. So if we did this on the Legacy Trail, you have to have a strategy where 1 person's running and 1 person's riding the bike. So whoever's on the bike can ride ahead of the runner, and then we'll get off the bike and leave it on the side of the trail. It's usually never out of sight, so it's not like someone's gonna pinch your bike. And then you leapfrog each other. The safety is everybody has to cross any crossings on the ground together walking. So if you come to, just for safety, and also kind of keeps the team true. And you have to finish together as well too. It's super fun. We used to do a 10-mile one, and it used to take about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes, because a lot of times 2 people are running at the same time when the bike is on the ground. The bike can be a mountain bike, it can be a kid's bike, it really doesn't matter. It's supposed to be for fun. I have to think about the best course, because we do want crossings and we don't want it to be more than an hour, so we want everyone to feel like they can participate. And then if people We used to do it one where you'd get time off, depending on how many stuffed animals you could carry as a team. So we would litter stuffed animals on the team. So maybe we'll do something like that as long as people don't crash. And then the other one was if you showed up in a costume, you might get a minute bonus or something like that. So we had people show up in like the sumo suits, and they'd go. It was a lot of fun. So I'd like to do that. I think it'd be really fun. So those are my 2 updates.
All right, so a couple things on the training or fun side. Thursday night break is going on tomorrow. I forgot to put the last week of the month in the event schedule, but it is going on tomorrow night at Benderson. Everybody knows the drill there. Show up anywhere from 5 to 6 there. Make your laps around the lake. Run what you want to run. Finish up 7:15, 7:30 range, and then go get something to eat. It's all about when you finish, not when you start. So, and I call Benderson the great equalizer because it doesn't matter if you're Adam riding 26 or Linda riding 15 or whatever your speed is. As long as we end at the same time, it doesn't matter. That's what the whole fun of that is. That's the first thing that happens every Thursday until the time change. At the time change, that goes away. The other thing is Labor Day weekend, next weekend. Claremont. Here's the plan on Claremont. We're going to go up to Claremont. We are going to ride 1 lap of the GFT is the goal. This is a self-supported ride. This is unlike the last ride, which was we all kind of stayed together. You can group up with a friend or two, whatever you need to do in your own pace range, but this is more of a workout ride, which means you're going to ride your own pace. When you get done with the ride, me personally, I like to jump in the lake just to get cooled off. But we're going to then go the next morning, Sunday morning. We're going to run the clay trail, which is it's going away very quickly. If anybody has ever been to the clay trail, they'll tell you how gorgeous it is to run. If anybody hasn't been to the clay trail, you need to go now before they turn it into a beautiful paved run. And then eventually it'll turn into houses everywhere. But this is literally my personal favorite place I've ever run. There's one area where you run the backside of a tree farm, and the hill rolls down away from you, and you can see 20-25 miles away. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sunrise is just spectacular. You have to run it. You have to start before the sun comes up so that you're out there running when the sun comes up. It's a blow away, beautiful, gorgeous setup. The whole loop around is 9.67 miles, but you can do it out and back as far as you want to go. You can make the run as long as you want it to do. You can run it twice. I mean, but this run, to put it in perspective, this run was featured on the cover of Runner's Magazine. The Kenyans come here and run this run because it is such a beautiful, great place to train. So, but they're paving it, like I say, and they're going to turn it into, eventually it's all going to be gone. So take your chance to go now and get it done. But contact me if you want to go. I'll give you the information. We're going to roll at 7:30 from Waterfront Park on Saturday morning. That's all you really need to know. We're going to roll at 7:30 Waterfront Park. Be there.
And our hotel is the home two suites.
Home two suites is kind of like the home hotel is home two suites.
Cool. I love that. There's a loop, there's an out and back where if you get really tired, you can wait for the house to be developed. And have you met my wife? She does real estate and will help you pick out that house. So. All right, member spotlight. I know we had cold sweats going back to Alcatraz, not as a resident. Right?
We had to escape.
Did you watch The Rock on the way over there? But I am super impressed with Steve, and not only how he races, but how he runs his business, how he treats his employees, and how he has a great girlfriend, and also but also all the different things and diversity that he has in his life. So, and you balance a lot of stuff. So we'd like to kind of highlight you and give you the mic. Come on up here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve.
Hey, watch out.
In the middle, Steve. In the middle,
Stand
Steve.
over here. So, Alcatraz was a bucket list. Lived in California in the 80s, and my cousins are in the Bay Area, and we'd go up to visit. Actually, I started in Santa Cruz, and then went surfing one day and said it was too cold. And they said, I have a friend in San Diego, and I moved down to San Diego and kept visiting and kept looking at the island, and it just said, someday I want to do that. And and that was like a dream for me. And so throughout my life, I was 21 when I first went out and lived there for 10 years, then came back to Florida and started in a family business and started in triathlons and got into it. And then I had this thing in the back of my head, I want to do Alcatraz, and started doing the research. And then one led to another. I made a plan, and it came, and they delayed that. Supposed to talk like that. You can't hear me. Hello.
Was it what you thought it was going to be?
I was in San Francisco. Sorry.
We just got you on video doing that.
Well, San Francisco was an experience.
First viral video. 7:07 p.m. Mark.
Sorry. We're all adults. But anyway, I would encourage anybody to do this race. It's incredible. The venue is unbelievable. The people were incredible. IMG is actually the what are they, the sponsor? They're not the sponsor, but they actually run the event.
Part of their sports program.
Yeah, it is. And so I was and the cool part was I had a Storm outfit on, and as I'd run through the crowd, people would go, "Hey, Storm," and that was really cool. The swim was really, to me, was this incredible. I didn't think it would end. It just kept swimming because we couldn't see. The fog had settled in, so our view for our, what's that?
Wow, that would be scary.
Yeah, so and what it was is I just started following the pack. They put the older people up on top and the young people were below us, but on the boat, yeah, it's they bring us out to the island.
Hotel room the night before.
What's that?
We thought you were talking about your hotel room the night before.
I don't know. It's just, for me, we went out, we made it a vacation too. So we were out, I was out for 9 days, and Lisa showed up on Monday, and we started cruising around. And one of the greatest experiences in that, besides the race, was the first time I've ever been on an e-bike. And we did Golden Gate. First we went to Giant Stadium to get tickets, and then we rode to the other side of San Francisco, over the Golden Gate into Sausalito, then back up over Golden Gate and back to the wharf. But getting back to the event, it was in just this, the moment of coming in. Lisa met me at about a mile and a half left, and got real emotional. Yeah. Because this is a thing that I've trained for. I shouldn't even say trained. You set a goal in life, and then you start to achieve the goal, and then all of a sudden it comes to life, and then you're halfway through it, and you're going, wow. It still gives me goosebumps, but and that's, I'd encourage anybody. It's a cruel, really, the nostalgia of doing it is one of the greatest things I've done in my life, besides alligator. I didn't swim alligator. I actually got volunteered there, and then I got hooked up with a guy. Actually, his name was Lighthouse Larry. I didn't know that till that night. So that encouraged me for my next bucket list, and that's in a couple of weeks we're going to do.
You're doing Lighthouse?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Me, Ren, and Lisa.
We lost Kathy.
Yeah, we need another swimmer.
We need a swimmer, by the way.
Or they're gonna be a team instead of
Wait, you're doing Lighthouse already, right?
She's
Well,
already
I'm signed up as a solo, but I lost my kayaker, so.
Well, then you have a
I'm
team.
not sure if I wanna do a whole other 8 miles.
She drinks beer.
Well,
There you go.
Well, if you wanna be in a team,
All right,
reach
we're
out
gonna get
to me.
Steven's time so quick.
No, I'm done. We're good. We need another
Tell
participant.
them about how the swim starts. That's kind of different
Yeah.
than most races.
So how the swim starts is you get, first, the transition is the day before. You get everything there. Then we stayed at a hotel that had these courtesy bikes. So I rode this courtesy bike down at 5:30.
Wait. Where would you recommend staying? Seriously,
The Hyatt. I'd stay at the Wharf. I'd stay in the Wharf by Marina Green. They actually have a couple hotels in that
Not
area.
up on the hills.
No. So, and we stayed in the Wharf because one of the great things is that I don't think we had a bad meal the whole time we were there because we could go into Little Italy and then we had Korean food and then we went over to the Wharf and did that whole thing. And so, you know, the food was incredible. So they bring you out. What they do is you come in, you set up transition the first morning or the day of the race, and then what you'll do is you'll get on these shuttles, and the shuttle takes you over to it's Pier 3, Pier 3, and then you go out on the barge, and well, it's actually a big ferry, and it's a 2-story, and 34 and under is below, and everybody is above. But the cool part on the ferry is they started chanting. And everybody's rocking, and everybody sort of felt like, well, what are those guys doing? And then everybody started rocking. So it was really cool. I think the guys that were below us were probably trying to figure out what we were doing, but everybody was just, I met so many people from so many places, and so as they start, what they do is they blow the horn, they open the doors, and everybody starts jumping off, and it's intervals, and you just keep going. And then, so everybody from the second deck, they transition down to the first deck, and then you go out the doors, and you just jump into the water and take off. And
So the race starts when you leave the boat?
When you leave the boat, there's actually a strip.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a strip, and then you actually have
How cold was the water?
60, 59, and 60, yeah, right around there. But we had swam a couple days before that to get used to it. You know, we've been training in Rainbow River and then riding San Antonio. And then that's how I prepared myself for it. But we got to, one of the things that in the swim was for me, the hardest part is when I finally got up to the breakwater and got up to shore, because it was so cold and I'm not used to that kind of cold water. I was in the water for an hour and 9 minutes, and I got my equilibrium was a little like, ooh. So I just sat on my knees for a little bit, and then I stood up, and it's a half-mile run from the swim to transition.
Did you put shoes there?
I sure did. They strip you, and it was really organized because they strip you and you have a bag, and they put it in a bag, and then they have that bag that goes over to transition when you're done. So I love that organization because even though you're on the boat and you have a wetsuit on, a lot of people had sweatsuits and wetsuits, me, because I'm from Florida. But they had all that stuff there too. You know, they had it in my bag, in my transition bag for transition 1. Got on the bike, and then we started going through the hills, and it was really cool. You know, it's
Did you do a TT bike, or sorry for other questions, or a road bike?
I did my tri-bike. I sent my tri-bike out, which someone graciously let me use there. I should tell you about that experience. The box for your bike, but me personally, I will send my bike out on a transition carrier, because when I got there, there was a little ball bearing that was missing out of the new set of wheels, and I'm like, okay, I got to find a bike shop. Got online, we found one, was on the other side of San Francisco, called Tri Mob. We found out it's no longer in existence after we walked about 4 miles to it with a bike. So we were like, okay, this isn't here. You should have called first, which was what I was told.
So who told you that?
I can't.
We walked through Chinatown.
Yeah, we walked through China. I mean, we walked like through San Francisco with this tri-bike, and it's sort of so on the way.
Bought a double-decker red bus to get right on the way.
You know, it's funny because I put my bike in the front of the bus on the way back, and all I could think about is stopping at each stop and somebody grabbing my bike. So I'm like sitting in the bus, and some guy goes to put his bike on. I'm like, oh no! I thought he was taking it. Wasn't my
No
bike.
bearings he wasn't going to get far. If he took it.
No. So,
What would you do next time?
what would I do next time? I would ship it.
I would like transfer.
Yeah, transfer. I do it that way only because it was $100 to go out.
How'd you do it this year?
I tore it apart and put it in a box that someone graciously let me use. Not him, but the storm.
And then you brought it on the plane, right?
Yeah, I brought it on the plane, which I, pushed it through the airport. And I did find out one thing, is the guy kept saying, go to kiosk. And I'm like, I'm already checked in, I just need to put this on in the luggage. And, one of the things I did is I used that box to put everything in. So I had all my stuff in there, all my gear, everything was inside the box. And then they didn't have any concern with the weight. And they charged me $100 to get it on the plane to go out to California. But the cool part is the guy said, go to kiosk and get your sticker. So I went to kiosk, and then I put it on the box and pushed it over, and it went on for free.
Nice.
So that's a trick. If you're traveling with a bike, you go to kiosk, get your sticker. Kiosk is where you check in.
Kiosk.
It's got a K. Spring it in the
Yeah,
Southern,
dude.
dude.
You got your luggage tag.
How southern?
Yeah.
You guys have different outfits?
We do.
It's got a banjo?
Huh? You didn't have to go through TSA. Right. Yep, exactly. But the kiosk, I travel to Puerto Rico a lot to go surfing, and at one time we used to bring surfboards. That's $150 each way. So I'm very fortunate not to have to do that anymore. But California's got a recreational policy that anything that if you bring a surfboard, which is it's free. So I don't know whether they said the bike is free now or whatever it was, because that's considered recreational or whatever it is, but you might want to look into that. So the bike ride was really cool for me.
How'd you do the sand ladder?
Oh, the sand ladder was one step at a time. So there's more than one ladder, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was fooled. There's a ladder going up to Golden Gate, the stairs going up to the Golden Gate and over Golden Gate. And there was this really cool tunnel that we ran into, but when you get out to Baker's Beach, it sort of narrows down. So you got to duck down and run through it. And everybody's yelling, watch your head. So that, the whole event was incredible.
40 years old. He was that race is 40 years old.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, cool.
Shit.
You're done.
Thank you.
You're getting a hook. Congratulations. By the way, if you ever check out first class flights, which sometimes are not that much more expensive, your bike flight's free.
Does it?
Yep. And sometimes you can grab them for like $100 more. So anyway, no, we got time for straight. Then we'll zip. Okay. So Natalie Natalie Garcia is the Mexican World Cup. Natalia. It's got an E.
That was my mistake.
Who's our secretary? All right, you want to introduce Natalia? Okay, apparently not. Garcia is the Mexican World Cup has been on the Mexican World Cup tennis team and is a registered nutritionist, and we are very excited to hear what she has to say, plus she has snacks. So, samples. All right, would you like to come on up?
Yeah.
Meet you. Yes, thank you.
Right there.
Thank you for having us. I know John and I know Cynthia. We work together, and it's so funny to see John. I used to be a triathlete, and I changed to become a tennis player. I've always been an athlete my whole life, and I met John at the Y.
You used to swim.
I used to swim. And it's so funny just to see him here. I was like, oh yeah, he's the triathlon coach. So small world, but yeah. Thank you for having me here. I am always been an athlete. I'm also a registered dietitian, nutritionist. Very passionate about helping people achieve their goals. All of you guys have goals, and it seems like you like a challenge, and none of you guys wouldn't be doing this. So I get it. I'm the same way. I overtrained myself in the triathlon arena. I used to do a lot of Olympics, and I just overdid it. I got sports anemia, and that's actually what got me into sports nutrition. So I've been there, I've done it, I've been in the struggle where you just train, and sometimes you are at the race and you're like, what's going on? One time, this was this awesome race at a lake in Mexico City, and I had a goo that everybody else was having. And I said, all right, everybody's having it, I might as well have one, right? And guess what happened? I could not participate in the race because I was in the bathroom with watery diarrhea. Oh, for real. So that really taught me, you really gotta know what you're putting in you. Just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that it's the right fit for you. So a lot of personal experience is what drove my journey in becoming and really studying the science, studying what works for certain bodies and maybe what may not work. But happy to be here and tell you about, sports, endurance nutrition. You guys are doing, what's the distance? Is it mostly like sprint? Is it Olympics? All the races that you guys are saying, like what's the mileage? All of the above. Okay. All right. Just raise your hand. Let me know who has run out of steam in one of the races. Okay. Very common. Same. So I'm curious to know if you had to do that event again, knowing that you run out of steam, if you had to pick one thing to go differently about, what would that be?
Electrolytes.
Okay. Nutrition, for sure. Can you be a little more specific?
Basically, more of a balance of getting in more calories. I ran out of gas because I didn't take in enough calories. I didn't take in enough fuel for how much I was burning. Almost like running out of gas in a race car.
Right, that is common too, especially long events. How long was that event?
It was Ironman.
Yeah, yep. Yes?
I think race nutrition starts with training. So you have to eat well to make your body get used to burning the right fuels, so that when you get to the race, it knows how to burn those fuels correctly. And then on those race days, I forbid my athletes to have any protein or fat on race day.
I didn't hear that. You did what?
That I don't let my athletes have any protein or fat on race day because the limiting factor will always be, in my opinion, carbohydrates. But I think that you have to teach your body with daily nutrition how to eat right so that you can burn fats and proteins. But on race day, you're gonna run out of carbs before you run out of anything else.
I think it's also important to know too, for people who have special nutrition needs, like I can't eat some carbohydrates without protein, so I think
Okay,
there
perfect.
you go,
Yep.
every person
Yep.
has their piece that they need, right? So
100%.
I do 4.5 hours with the nutrition because I know I can't take some carbohydrates or I'll hypoglycemia and carbohydrates. So I think every athlete has to train their body to do what they need to do, right? So
I will say this globally because I agree with you.
So,
Yeah,
can
no,
I just-
yeah, no, you can't.
So,
No, yeah.
maybe it's best to phrase in the form of a question to the
Yeah.
functional medicine nutritionist, registered dietitian.
Yeah, well, she asked for our opinions. But I will tell you this, like I was stuck at going 11 hours and Ironman. When I figured out my nutrition, I went 9 hours. It was all nutrition based, not training.
Well, I think the key point is she said, just because everybody else is doing it, doesn't mean it works for you, because everybody's different in all their plans.
Natalia, why is everybody different? Why is it so hard to figure out?
Great question. Well, our environment, a big organ that I study and that I see a lot of people struggle with is their gastrointestinal tract. And sometimes you just learn by mistake. I remember one time doing a big run at the preserve over on Manatee, and I learned that I could not handle peanut butter because I had to explode in the bushes because I couldn't make it. So everybody's different because everybody's not just got the gastrointestinal tract, but different systems that when you, as a registered dietitian nutritionist, and also trained in functional medicine. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's pretty much if an individual has a struggle, let's say extreme fatigue, right? You look at that individual's systems that could be out of balance, and a system that is out of balance in a lot of people and athletes not excluded, is the ability to process food at a certain time. And people sometimes at race day, or they're just really scared, like, I don't want to eat this or have that because I'm afraid I'm just not going to tolerate it. And sometimes what happens to me happens to other people. So that would be a reason why, but a lot of other reasons. So that's just one. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about some of my tips and tricks, personal tips and tricks as a endurance athlete. And I don't do events, races anymore. I love tennis. I absolutely love tennis. And I played really, really, really high level. But I'm on the court for 3 hours when I have matches against really high level players. So I know what endurance is from doing triathlons and doing races. My dream was to do an Ironman, but I think tennis just stole that dream. And maybe I'll go back, maybe I won't. But anyway, so some things that I wanted to talk to you today, because Dr. Cynthia talked to you about inflammation last time. So a lot of the injuries that sometimes may keep us from participating in an event are related to inflammation. And what is one of the main elements that promotes inflammation in our environment that you know of? Meat? Heat. What would be one element in our environment, and maybe I'm phrasing this wrong, but our environment is food, right? So when it comes to food, I think there's a lot that we can do to tame the inflammation after, right? Like a very strong workout or just like a very intense run, so that we can tame that inflammation and not end up with injuries, because that's how injuries happen. Muscles never recover, everything is stiff, nothing is really well hydrated and recovered. So a few things, and that's why I asked you, do you remember one event when you run out of steam? So electrolytes and water. I don't know if you guys know how much fluid you should be drinking, but rule of thumb, about half your body weight. You probably know that already. When I was working at IMG as a dietitian, what we did a lot, and this is something you may want to do with the hydration department, is you probably want to weigh yourself before and after, and then consider everything that has been lost. But hydration is something that is not at the race day. Hydration is something that happens, like you said, on a day-to-day basis. And when you have an event that is going to be 8, I don't know how many hours, something that's been very helpful to me and has a lot of research to back it up is to overhydrate, but with electrolytes as well. So at the clinic, we use certain formulations. I don't know, what do you guys use for electrolytes? I'm curious.
I use Noon tablets.
Noon?
Base.
Scratch, Base, I'm not familiar with that one, okay?
Gatorade Endurance.
You use what? Yoli, okay. So let me just ask this question. When you're looking at hydration and electrolytes, what is something that you guys look for? Like, how do you pick, okay, this is a good fit? What do you look for?
Potassium, sodium.
How many minerals do you have, like a checklist? Okay, does this have this? Then it's a good. How do you know?
I know I need 750 to 1,000 grams an hour.
Of what?
Sodium, potassium, whatever the mix. I need to get better with the mix, but I know that.
It has to taste good, so I'll drink it.
Right. So this is important. Like, one thing that I learned and that I teach a lot of people is just the electrolyte profile, right? So a good electrolyte, sodium, potassium are great, and those are found in most of your drinks. However, magnesium is an amazing mineral that we lose not just by sweating. When we have a bowel movement, when we urinate, it's just so crucial. So I just want to talk about minerals, and magnesium being one of the minerals that I really swear by. And I take a handful of supplements, and if you were to tell me, Natalia, just pick one out of all that you take, guess what it would be? Magnesium. Why? Because you lose it not just via sweat, and the foods that we consume are extremely deficient in it. So pretty much everybody is magnesium deficient. And if you're having a hydrator or electrolytes that doesn't have magnesium or doesn't have enough, I don't know what you're doing. You probably don't know what you're doing, but you have me, so I can teach you. So an example of a great hydrator that I personally use that we have at the clinic, and I'll pass this around so that you guys can see, you'll notice that this has magnesium, vitamin C, chloride, so a lot of other minerals and other ingredients that you probably didn't know play a role in performance. So I'll pass it around if you guys want to see. And then magnesium is something also that when you guys are trying to recover, it's extremely important to have at higher doses after you finish your race, because your muscles are in a big shock of the extent of effort that they had to do. So magnesium pretty much regulates 300 workers in your body. 300 workers. And I mean, we have a lot, but 300 is a lot. So if you're magnesium deficient and you're trying to recover to be ready for maybe the next race in a month, and you go magnesium deficient for another month, that's kind of when injuries can happen. So electrolytes, remember, look at your label. Some of the musts that I will tell you to really have there. I mean, sodium, right? That's important. Potassium, what else would you say other than magnesium?
Calcium.
Yes. What else? Sodium, potassium, calcium, what else would be important? Zinc can be helpful, for sure. It's not a must. Well, you know what? Iron is one of the minerals that interacts with other minerals. So if you are iron deficient, or if you have sports anemia, I don't know if you guys know that term, but it happens when the red blood cells just kind of start breaking down because of the impact. It happens a lot with endurance athletes and just like marathon runners, and I had that. So iron is one of those minerals that you want to maybe give up aside, from everything else. Yes, it's known by that. So yeah, but you wouldn't want to have it with that. But just sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and that formulation there has vitamin C. And why would we have vitamin C in an electrolyte? What's the role of vitamin C while we're hydrating? It helps with absorption for sure, but it's also very anti-inflammatory. So if you're in an event and your stress hormones are high just because it's the nature, right, of the event, of putting the body through that, it's gonna be quite helpful. So next topic that I want to talk about you briefly are carbohydrates.
Before you move.
Yes.
You were talking about these minerals as a recovery type after an event that you've exerted yourself.
Not just after, I would take it before, pretty much as well.
Would you do it like you said, in a mix, or would you take it in a pill cocktail?
Well, I don't know what the pill has, so you'll have to get with me for me to answer that question, because there's just so many different things out there. But you do want those levels, so magnesium would be for sure up here. But I wouldn't just have it after. I would have it before, and if you're training now, of course, I get zapped after being on the courts for 2 hours in the morning, and I'm a zombie. It takes me a little bit to regroup. Yes.
You mentioned you overhydrate going into an event, right?
Yes.
With a blend with that in it.
Yes.
What is your definition? Like, how much would you overhydrate?
Well, it's a great question. It means pretty much you make sure that your fluid needs are met, the day prior, and then the day before. I used to wake up way earlier, than my event, to just really get pretty much all the fluid that I needed to get in before. Of course, when we drink, I don't know if you guys know this, but our gastrointestinal tract can't really tolerate more than about 4 ounces, at one sitting. So by overhydration, drinking plenty of water that I know I won't be able to drink during the event because I know I'm on the bike, or I just don't have access to that many stations. But something that a lot of people sometimes do, they just drink too much water at once. So what I did, I would wake, let's say my event started at 7, I would wake up at probably 5, and just really overhydrate. And the day before would be a day where I would drink quite a bit of electrolytes. Good question. Okay, we were gonna talk about carbs. So, when you guys think about carbs, what is a common food that you guys is your go-to for the night before or maybe the day of? I'm just curious.
Pizza, baked potato.
Okay, pasta, pizza, and baked potato. I'll take those. Out of those three, which one do you think serves you better? I would say the baked potato. I would say the baked potato, and the pasta depends on what it's made out of. But why do you think I do the thumbs up for the baked potato and not the pasta or the pizza?
Processed flour.
So yes, it's not processed, and somebody said something very important over here. Flour, right? What about wheat? Wheat flour. What does that do to our system? Very inflammatory. It can really cause, I don't know if you guys know what intestinal permeability is, but it's leaky gut where your intestines, and I know you guys can't see much well, but your intestinal wall has these little cells where food and nutrients and electrolytes and everything, it's supposed to be small enough to be absorbed through here. So gluten, which is found in wheat, we don't have the workers to unfold it. So what happens? It gets fully not digested, and these intestinal walls end up being apart and just leaky and sick. So a lot of people get other medical issues because of their intestinal lining being all leaky. So, I know you probably don't feel an issue, intestinally, but that's because your immune system is working for you so that you don't feel it. So you don't have to feel ill when you have wheat, and you don't have to feel ill to your stomach when you have wheat. Maybe your weak link is your mood. Maybe your weak link is your focus. So just keep that in mind. And there's alternative. I brought one of my favorite pastas. Yes, I'll pass it. I don't know if you guys have seen these. Probably, maybe. Chickpea pasta, lentil pasta. This is awesome. When you compare regular pasta, and amount of protein and the amount of fiber, this is gold. So that would be a great recommendation. And something that I live off a lot. Do you guys know what these are? Lentils. Did you guys know they're a great source of carbohydrate and a great source of protein? So I know we're all tired after work. What I do, easy peasy, make a soup. I know it's summer. Some people hate soup during the summer, but you can also just steam them and just have them on your side. But this is great carbohydrate. And something about carbohydrate timing, you probably want to do this the week before your event, not the day before your event, because it takes a good amount of time for your glucose storages to build up in your muscles. So really, race nutrition, like you mentioned, it is something to do consistently on a regular basis. Carb, if you want to really increase it, then the week before. Now, recovery, to finish up. What are some elements for recovery that are a must, that you guys practice, that you do, and that you know it helps you? Just raise your hand and share. Protein, yes. Yes. That's, pretty much you said it, yeah. And believe it or not, carbohydrate as well. So, protein, elites, I'm just gonna put elites. What else did we say? Well, those are building blocks of protein, timing, but believe it or not, carbs are important too. Why? Because if you don't consume carbs, it gotta be the smart ones, the whole ones, sweet potatoes, fruit. Those are really smart carbs. Your body knows exactly what to do with those. But a lot of people just focus on protein, and that's all they do for recovery. And I'm here to tell you, you're cutting yourself short, because those your muscle cells are very hungry for carbohydrate, and they will really accept it and use it really well. The body just knows what to do after it's been under exertion for a significant amount of time. So just trust it And if you're gonna practice recovery, remember it's a healthy, lean protein. You can do BCAAs, or you can just do a whole food source of protein. I just wouldn't do a very fatty protein, just because it slows down the recovery process. I'm a proponent of fats. I starve without a fat with my meals. So I just don't have it a lot after I play or I swim. I swim in the Gulf. I'm very blessed to be able to swim 2 blocks from the beach, and every time when I didn't play tennis or after a workout, I swim. And anyway, I just don't add fat to my recovery. I do add protein, usually a good protein powder. And Eli's timing, what about timing? What would be the best timing for recovery?
First hour, right?
Within the hour. Yeah, within the hour. Yeah.
Doesn't, I have read somewhere recently that regarding timing, that you actually should wait a little longer to eat the protein so your body can really benefit from it. Have the carb first and then have the carb and protein a little later. Is that something?
Well, something that can play a role there is that the carbohydrate, it's, believe it or not, in higher need, especially for endurance, than protein. Protein is important, but carbohydrate was very, very depleted. So, I mean, if you're having meals, not like you have to wait, but maybe that article or whatever you read was also reinforcing the need to also have carbohydrate with recovery. Because a lot of people really neglect it and they just do protein and then they're super fatigued and like, why if I recover? Well, you didn't refuel. So, those are my tidbits for today. Any questions, any comments, anything you would like to know?
So do you recommend electrolytes before, during, and after?
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
And is there a particular ratio that you recommend for the magnesium and potassium and sodium?
Well, like I said, there's different products. There's one that's going around. We have it at the clinic, and I mean, that's great.
Pedialyte, that's inexpensive, easy to get, no-brainer.
Pedialyte, I don't know the ingredients. I don't know if you can pull it up. As long as it doesn't have artificial sweeteners, I'm not so sure. We could do some comparison if you would like. The concern sometimes with Pedialyte are the colors. You know, those. You get clear? Great. Well, if it doesn't have artificial sweeteners, it may be a good one, but it would be a good idea to do a comparison. Yeah.
What is one of the signs of low magnesium?
Ooh, so many. Well, we lose it so much, and sometimes people can't sleep. That's a big one, magnesium deficiency. People have anxiety, like they're just really, really anxiety. You know, magnesium really regulates also that heartbeat. So people without a regular heartbeat would really benefit from magnesium. Fatigue is a sign of magnesium deficiency. It can be. So, I mean, you really, really benefit from it. But if you have questions, you know, you gotta get magnesium that's absorbable, not just whatever. So, and it has to be at therapeutic levels. So for all that, you know, that is what I do. Could you pass, there's an offer that we have, if you, I don't know if you guys have seen and worked with Dr. Cynthia. She's awesome. And I'm very happy to be part of her team. But if you're interested in, you know, like what works for me, you know, what should I need, what should I do, you know, what this is my concern, this is what happens for me. I've been blessed to be able to do what I love. And I've been in your shoes, I am in your shoes, not triathlon at the moment, but I did it for many years. So I'm here to help and to really customize.
What's it look like to work with you?
Ah, great question. Well, I'll ask you a lot of questions. You'll get a good amount of questions asking you about how do you see food, and then I'll ask you your typical day of eating and drinking. You can tell me your regular and your pre-race and your post-race, and any concerns you have around that. Medical history, medications, supplements. I do a good eval at the beginning just to see, okay, what are some of the blind spots? What are some spots that we're not seeing that are messing me up, or that are not giving me the times that I want, or that are not letting me recover and feel well?
Is it monthly, or is it race nutrition, or that, like how are your programs, like if I come in as a customer, what are your pricing plans? Is it like, I'm gonna help you with your race nutrition, I'm gonna diet, or it all comes in?
Well, with it, there's a 3. That's a package of 3. You can also choose to do 1 and then just go monthly. Really, whatever works. But if you have a race, you have questions. But usually people really benefit from working over a time frame, just because there's always questions. There's always, how did you feel after doing this? Was it easy? Did it take forever to make, or to cook, whatever? So everybody's very individual. So
I can tell you, I trained for like 15 years and couldn't crack Ironman and would always get sick. Sometimes I felt like I threw up the gum that I swallowed when I was a kid. The best race I ever had was a 10:50, and the best half Ironman I ever had was a 4:30. And I finally just got serious about my nutrition because I felt like I was investing some time. Clearly, that's something. The training didn't change much, but I invested in my nutrition, and I consistently was under 9:20 at Ironman. I got down to 4 hours almost in my half. I got to the lean body mass that I always wanted because I used to be 240 pounds. So invest in your nutrition is hopefully you'd be the right fit. And then Tanya, my wife, who also sells real estate, by the way, but she does functional medicine, but she refers out to nutritionists all the time. So you guys should exchange information because she's always looking for qualified nutritionists to handle that.
Absolutely.
She does the blood work and figures out what people need. So.
Yeah.
The nutrition is such a key component to success, in my opinion. So you can't outrun a bad fork.
I love that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Natalia's offer for you tonight also has a recovery package as our thank you for allowing us to present and to support you. So that's the beamer and the sonnet and the compression legs. It's a great thing to do right after you have a race.
Yes, I know I didn't come yet.
In order to prevent injury, but I also just wanted, Natalia, I really want to thank you for being here tonight because this night has been on our books for so long and it has meant so much to Natalia. She has such a passion for helping athletes that her father just arrived from Mexico. They met at the gate and he came in with her. So we really appreciate Sergio. Gracias. So thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for sharing such fantastic information. I mean, show of hands, did you learn something that's relevant to you in race? Yeah, that was awesome. That was really fantastic. Thank you, Natalia.
To kind of close up too,
I play tennis, by the way.
you can have a Ferrari, and if it doesn't have the right gas in it, it's not going anywhere. So, yeah, and the human body is not like a car where if you have a half a tank of gas or almost no gas left, the Ferrari still performs the same, but as the human body starts losing things, our performance drops. So it's critical. I hope people research you, and whether it's you or not, I hope they pay attention to that. It's the game changer. So yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, and sorry we kept everybody a little late, so I think we'll close the meeting, right? So, yeah, cool. Thank you.